Right, today we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why you don't lower your golf scores on the golf course. Why are you not bringing those scores down? So let's begin on the tee. Let's go driver or free wood for safety. Now this one's really interesting. The tee is a massive place. You can make huge gains if you can get this one working well. But maybe this one is working well for you already. So I'm going to hit one with my driver and one with my free wood. I'm going to show you a bit of the stats with these two clubs taken from ShotScope playing data. So that's a drive, hit very, very well, but there are fairway bunkers down the left, which I don't want to get involved with. So this is a huge amount of data capture here from ShotScope. What you can see from accuracy with free wood to driver is it's almost the same. It's like 1% away from each other. Where distance, there's a noticeable distance. Obviously the free wood for lots of golfers is going shorter, but is it really going any straighter? Well, the data shows it isn't. And my experience of playing with lots of amateurs as well, they put a big premise, a big value on hitting that fairway. Now, what we see also from data from ShotScope is the rough and the semi-rough doesn't really cost you that many shots, but being further back does. But there is an exception to this rule. So I'm now going to hit a free wood, in theory for safety. What I'm actually going to try and do with this club, which we'll show you, is just take those bunkers out of play. They are basically on the same line. So what's so interesting with this is my 3-wood, and you can see we've used the fact that it's shorter, so the fact that it's not as far as my driver, it's not as long as my driver, as an advantage, because I just can't reach the bunker. I hit this one really well. The driver, which I thought I hit great, is now in a spot from about 80 yards I don't want to be in, and let's pretend this is 200 yards, whatever the yardage out it is, this is going to be tough. So with the 3-wood, from the fairway, 100 yards out, I'm happy I'm going to bung that somewhere on the green. It's definitely given me an opportunity. I can even put this ball in the rough at the same distance with my 3-wood. Out towards the green, and that one's going to get on. Now the one from the fairway bunker, which I have, that's short left, and that is actually gone into another bunker. More tips on how to improve these further in the video. I would want you to really just hit your driver where you can. Use that distance to your advantage. Don't put so much emphasis on trying to just hit fairway. Staying out of bunkers, then using your clubbing to be wiser could definitely save you shots. Let's talk a bit about approach play. So I've got 3 approaches here from different distances. You can see from the data we all like to miss short. It's such a common miss with golfers through missed strikes and often clubbing issues. There's definitely some egos flying around when it comes to choosing how far you hit 7-irons and things like that. So a little tip for you to take to the golf course next time you play. Try and hit a few more greens. You can see here again as you go up and down the handicaps, the amount of greens in regulations you're hitting is dramatically different. So just trying to hit a little bit further up that green might just raise your greens in regulation. That's going to lower your scores. So what I'm going to do, my GPS is telling me that it's 201 to the back of this green and it's 171 to the front. So wind into off the left, it would be a 6-iron to the front, and I reckon 201 I could hit. Well, I'm going to hit my power hybrid, my 19 degree. I'm going to play the back yardage. So this is my 19 degree hybrid. Honestly, 185 center. I could easily hit a 6-iron. This is 2 clubs extra. You'll hit that good. Up the left, wind's just moving it in. Just stay left a little. Oh, that does not look long. Let's move forward to the next distance. Right, next distance, we're 144 middle, which is a 9-iron, 156, which is the back of the green. I'm going to hit like a soft 7 to try and get it to the 156. Again, remember, into off the left. Again, hit that nice, wind just moving it a little bit, stay left. Again, that doesn't look long, bit on the right side, but doesn't look long. Last distance, must be able to get one over the back of the screen in a minute. Okay, third and final distance. So we're 98 to the middle, and 112 to the back of the green. Now, when I get this close, when I get within my wedge distance, playing to the back of the green now feels a little bit more like a scary agenda, a scary play, because the missed strikes are going to be less. So my distance control from this distance is going to be more consistent than a 7-iron or a hybrid, because you're going to have less of those missed shorts because of strike. I'll still play to the back of the green on this one, but this is the situation where I might take middle of the green rather than the back if that pin's front to front middle kind of ideas. I'm going to just push a little bit past it, but let's see what happens. So 109 back, I'm going to give my 52 a nice thump. This is about a 113, 120 at most club. Again, I'm not sure that is going to go long, but it's maybe the furthest up the green. Should we go up there and show you where those three are finished? So 3 shots. Nothing over the green. This is my 7-iron. It's in the middle of my hybrid, and certainly my 52, my 100 yards plus shot is the one that was further back, and it felt like it would be. Remember, as your handicaps go higher, as you're watching this video, so the higher handicapper you are, the more greens you're missing in theory. Making sure that you're not missing as many short has got such cheap, easy wins for so many golfers. You're hitting good shots that are coming up short. Trying to get to the back of the green is going to be a much better option. And remember, the trouble generally on most greens, and there's exceptions to this case obviously, are going to be short. If I take one of these balls or 2 of these balls to the back, bearing in mind I couldn't get to the back of the green, over the back of this screen I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 steps before death. 13 yards of chip shots back up the green, which are going to be relatively easy. And as we've already established with those bunkers at the front, they're costing you. Pushing up those greens might just save you a few easy shots and not really changing the player you are. You're the same player, you're just picking a bit more club. Let me know if that one helps. 3 bunker shots green side. You're leaving them in here too often. Let's do some really simple, basic ideas of how to get out of the bunker. So I do think a lot of golfers get a little bit kind of taken away or a little bit overexcited with what they see on telly with the tour pros doing some miraculous bunker shots, which I get, it's fun and you would want to move there. But if so many of you are leaving shots in here and so many of you are making these cost you shots, let's go for a really basic idea. What I want you to do is take a nice wide stance, shuffle your feet down into the sand a little bit, push this in that club around 2 inches behind the ball. Obviously you're not allowed to touch the sand. I'm putting that line in there just as a reference. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly twist that face with a bit more loft, so turn it around the shaft, then hold it. Now I'm going to do a shoulder to shoulder swing, trying to hit 2 inches behind that ball, even 3 inches if you like. So you can see I've entered that sand 2 to 3 inches there behind the ball. So I do the same idea with all 3 of these shots. I've got ball position just slightly forward of center. I'm not aiming left, I'm aiming pretty much where I want the ball to go. I'm swinging where I want the ball to go. I'm of shoulder height swings with a nice bit of loft on the club and really get into that sand. You can see that ball comes out with a bit of height and it's going somewhere towards that flag. Now this isn't an easy bunker shot, it's downhill. I could be more delicate than this, but just making sure I'm impacting that sand with a bit of speed each time is getting those 3 shots. Now come and look at these. So one shot I'll be very, very happy with. The other 2, even though they're not on the green, this is puttable. And this one is on the green and very puttable. And I could have the flag, let's put that flag in our minds. I could play to there and put the flag back here, back left. And those shots are still high up in the stats. So it's not about getting intricate. At some stage it'll be about getting intricate as you're coming down in handicaps, but you want to save shots. You want to spend hours on the putting green trying to hold those 6-footers. I'm not saying there isn't great time to practice your putting, but because there's gains to be made. But these kind of areas that people are just not practicing, you are going to pick up so many free gifts over your other fellow mid to high handicappers. Basic, get out the bunker, get it on the green or near, you're going to lower your scores. selection of clubs to try and chip with. Now this is something I can save shots on. So there seems to be an addiction that you can see from the stats here for people to grab their most lofted club always around the green. Again, I think it's that reflection of watching. You know, if you watch golf on social media, which lots of us do, they will show miracle shots. They're not going to show a 7-iron run going to 5 foot, which is a decent shot. They're going to show Phil Mickelson hitting some crazy lob shot, and people start to almost think that's what chipping is about. I'm going to put the ball in a few different situations, and I'm going to show you how I use different lofts, and let's look at the results. So this is my 58, and arguably this is a 58 shot. That green's running away from me, but it requires good striking and good hitting. I mean, I've played that pretty good, and that thing is running away. Going to move to my 9-iron now. This will tangle with the fringe a little bit, but not really feeling like I'm doing much with that. That is closer on that instance. And then let's push it to extremes. This is my hybrid, and I've got a putter grip, putter stance. This is a 22-degree hybrid, and I'm literally just going to try and putt it forwards. What the data clearly shows from ShotScope as you watch amateurs play this game is there is this obsession with lofted clubs. And I get it's romantic, and you can get that checky, really impressive one. But trying to get good with a different array of lofts around the green, it's clearly what the data shows the better chippers are doing over the average golfers. So this is very much, not much green to work with. It goes up and over. This is where a 58 might be the perfect shot. But again, having the addiction to this club is dangerous, where the results can be fantastic. Like again, I felt like I hit that quite well. Good accuracy, better for distance. And again, let's go 22 hybrid putt. I mean, the results are just so showing definitely can win shots. And I think lots of you can, getting skilled with an array of clubs rather than that addiction to the lofted club. And obviously there'll be situations where you got to go over everything and you got to get it to stop, and the lofted club comes into its own. But just grabbing this club as a point of reference as your first shot each time is maybe costing you more shots than it is really saving you any. Of us are coming up very short with our putt, so we're missing more short than we are going long. Why is that? Well, it's a number of factors. So pace control is a massive factor into holding more putts or not. So one of them was about here, the other one was about here. They went on two different lines, but both went in. So controlling the pace of the putt, not only going to get you closer to the hole, it's going to help you hit the lines more often, hopefully see the lines a bit more. It's such a key element. Now, why are we not able to control pace? First protocol I'd like you to practice and improve is strike. If you look at these two strike patterns, one is myself and one is from a 28 handicapper. Now the 28 handicapper is getting a variation of strikes, which in turn makes the ball come off the face, a variation of speeds, which then in turn makes the ball go a variation of distances. That's before you work in any of the differences in club head speed that we might be applying over the two strokes as well. Simple pace control drill. You can do this so much more than just only hitting to try and hold putts. What I'm going to do is just set up a little kind of touchdown line, and you can make this as big or small as you like. So basically here to here is where I want to try and get this putt to stop. So somewhere in this channel basically. And each putt you hit, reading the patterns on where you strike that ball. So I felt like I struck that one well, but it's come up short. So what I'm going to do is try and add a little bit more pace with a faster stroke, which I've done. See, I've just gone past. Again, I felt like I struck that one quite well. So again, I'm just going to try and see if I can add that little bit more speed. And that was with me striking them all quite well. So I'm just going to repeat this, build up this database of how fast I need to swing it to get the ball certain distances. And if you imagine how many different kind of green types you might play on in the year, different speeds, you're going to have to build up a pretty big database of doing this. Is where practice really comes into its own, not always just hitting towards that hole. Now, if it is strike that you're struggling with to get the ball into the touchdown zone, there may be a few ideas of working with gates and working with things on each side of the putter which you can use, like putting mirrors that you get from people like Putt Out and other companies. These are great ways for you practicing at home to try and build up that quality of strike. And that's a big thing. When I used to play a lot of golf, I used to practice a lot of putting at home. I'd go up against a skirting board just to try and get that putter as close to that skirting board each time as I could on the stroke. To me, that was working on the ideas of the curves of the stroke. But if you think about it, if I'm returning that putter to the same part of that skirting board each time, then that's also going to be me working on strike without even really knowing. Getting your putts to hit the middle of the face or the same spot of the face each time, because it doesn't have to be the middle. As long as you hit the same spot, you'll get the consistent speed off the face through strike. Then all you've got to start working on is building up that database of how hard you should actually swing it. Getting these putts to the hole more consistently, better distance control. Honestly, easy pickings for so many golfers. God, there's so many shots out here to save, isn't there?